Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a video in collaboration with Capture One, and today I will be showing you how easy it is to switch to Capture One from other programs. As you guys know, I only started using Capture One recently, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and when I was going to join, I was very reluctant and really scared because I thought it was going to be super overwhelming and a lot just to, master another program. But when I actually got into it, it turned out that it was actually super easy. So today in this video, I want to show you how easy it is to actually switch and how simple it is to use the program itself, how intuitive it is, how much customizations can be done, and so on. So make sure to stick around. I'm going to give you a really nice discount code at the end of the video as well. Okay, so first thing that we're gonna do is we're going to select a new catalog just for the sake of it. I'm gonna call it Anita Sadowska 2, just because we have one already. It's going to be in my T7 just because I don't have that much space on my computer and just makes it a bit more difficult to work if you're running out of space all the time. So we're going to have here, and then we can import images, import, export. And I know when you first open the program, it can be quite daunting because there's so much going on. There's so many new things to look at, but to be honest, it is quite simple. You just have to get into it. So I'm gonna show you step by step what I do. I'm gonna start with import, or I can click the middle image there. I'm going to go into choose. I have a folder selected here that I want to select from. I'm not gonna select all the images, just purely because I have a lot of images here and it will take forever, so I don't really want to do that. So we're going to just select a bunch of images here and go with that. Review for import. If you guys watched my previous video as well, you will see that I had all the metadata set up step by step. And the great thing about Capture One is once you do it once, it's done for good. And you can just keep reapplying it to all your images. So as you see here in my subfolder, I already have image date and all the other informations that I need. So it's just very, very helpful when it comes to working with the images. If you want to make sure you know how to set it up step by step, please watch my previous video. I went into depth on how to do it properly. So we have all this here. As I said, everything is pretty much pre-selected already. We're going to import the images now. One thing that I also wanted to mention, if you already have a catalog you'd like to import, there's also an option to import your catalog from Lightroom directly. I'm not going to do it now because my catalog is absolutely massive. However, it is an option for you to do, and it's really helpful. They show you step by step how to do it, and it doesn't affect your Lightroom catalog at all on the Lightroom side, so you can still use it and do whatever in it, but you can just transfer it directly to Capture One as well. Okay, so once all our photos are imported, I'm going to work with this one just as an example. It is pretty easy and intuitive to work in Capture One. I know it seems pretty daunting when you first open it because it looks quite different and quite overwhelming, but I think once you get used to it and once you get familiar with where everything is, it becomes pretty straightforward. So as you see here, our two main adjustment areas is going to be adjust and color. And this is where most of the color settings are. So here, as you see in adjust, you have the basic white balance, exposure, high dynamic range, clarity, dehaze, and some levels and curves. And then when you switch to color, you have your color profile. You can decide if you want a generic or pro standard. I prefer the generic just because it has a bit more richness in the tones. And then you also have a white balance again, color editor, where you edit your skin tones that I do a lot of when I edit my photos. You can also use skin tone. I personally don't use it as much just because I feel like the basic editor is actually pretty good. And I just find it a bit more simpler and faster. So I just stick to that. And then as you see here, you also have color balance where you can work on your images. But to be honest, I don't really use it as much again, just because I feel like the standard color editor is pretty good. So once you have that, as you see here, it is very similar to what your Lightroom setup would be like. And I think it's pretty intuitive as far as the settings go. So I'm just going to quickly edit this photo. To be honest, I feel like it actually looks really nice straight away from the camera, but I'm going to do some adjustments. One thing that I love about Capture One is that the colors off camera transfer way better. There isn't as many adjustments that needs to be done and so on. Sometimes when I was importing to Lightroom, you would have that jump from what the preview looked like to what the actual raw looked like. While I find in Capture One, the colors are more true to what I see on the screen, which I really enjoy. So it's very helpful for sure and makes it a bit faster with the process. So you see we have high dynamic range, we have highlights and shadows, whites and blacks. So as you guys know, I usually bring down my highlights, keep my whites where they are, and then shadows, I'm not going to go that extreme. I might brighten it up a tiny bit, maybe here. And then we have clarity. I don't personally usually use clarity. I think it just makes the image look a bit, just not that great. But if you are doing landscapes and so on, you might want to use it. Then we have the haze. As you guys know, if you're familiar with how I edit, I do use quite a lot of the haze on my photos. I use it kind of almost instead of contrast, because it doesn't give me as much of a blend with the highlights and shadows. I feel like sometimes contrast can make the shadows look a bit funky, and I feel like the haze gives me a bit more contrast without that feeling of heaviness in the shadows. So once we have that, that's pretty much everything in the adjustment section. Then we can switch to color. And here we have, again, our profile. We have our white balance, which I don't really want to change. And then we have our skin that we're going to be working on, so oranges. And as you see here, I can just change whatever I need. And same with here. If there's any reds, there aren't that many, so we'll just leave it as it is. As I mentioned, I kind of like the image already the way it is, so it's great. So once we have that, we can also turn it black and white if that's what you like. I never really shoot black and white or don't want to edit black and white, so it's not really a thing for me. So next thing that I want to talk about is how customizable everything is, which is what I love the most about Capture One. You have all your, you have a toolbar here that you can customize fully. It's all across here. So as you see, you have, at the moment I have my focus mask, I have my before and after, I have a grid, I have exposure warning, and I have auto adjust. And on this side, I have import, export, and live. And as you see here, there are many more things that you can add. You can add styles, for example. So if you use styles a lot, that could be very helpful. Styles are basically the equivalent of presets in Lightroom. And you can build them and set them up and save them very similarly, and I'll discuss it in a second. So as you see here, we have a bunch of things. So depending on what you need, if you need slideshow, print, you can always add it and just drop it in here. You can move it around if you want to. You can switch around if you don't like where it is, and so on. And then once you're done, you're done. So as you see here, there are very helpful options, like for example, focus mask, where you can see where the focus is on her. And as you see, my model's really nicely in focus, which is great. So we can use that. We can have exposure warning that will show us the little red areas that are overexposed, which is also super helpful. So there are simple things like this that help us speed up our workflow and just make it a bit more efficient. Another thing that I wanted to mention was shortcuts. And here, as you see, we have a few different things that you can do. You have pan, loop, crop, straighten, and so on, and they all have numbers next to them. So straighten is an R, crop is a C, and draw mask is a B, and so on. So for example, instead of me clicking on the crop, I can just press C, and straight away I can just crop as I wish, which is super helpful. So there's a way for you to print these as well and put them next to you on your computer or next to your screen, so you can just learn them. But it's definitely a really nice way to speed up your workflow a little bit. Okay, once we have that, we're going to talk about styles and presets. And as you see here, we have a few. So I created this one. This one's pretty simple. It's not very complicated. As you see here, the before and after, we didn't really do much, to be honest. But I can still save it if I want to for the future, and I can just click Save Custom Style. And for example, here, this is what I usually select. It's my exposure settings, my dehaze, color, compression, and so on. There's a bunch of things that you can select or deselect as you wish. And I'll press it here, and I will just name it beach, something generic. I think I have beach already, so I'll just say beach 2. just to know what kind of situation I'll be applying the styles to. So as you see here, I'll have my custom styles, and it's gonna be basic, beach 2, which is what I have right now. I have Kylie and overcast. So I don't have a specific naming for these. I just usually either go by the model's name, so I remember who I shot and what kind of situation it was in, or I just name it like beach or, you know, city or whatever. So as you see here, we have this image here, and now we can apply the same filter onto all of them, and it actually shows you a preview as well, which is very helpful. Okay, so once we have that, we can go and mention Capture One Live, which is one of my new favorite features in Capture One. As you see here, you have live, and you can choose the collection. So just make sure that if you have your album, you have to have a collection created first. So I created my collection here. It's named Anita, and I can choose how long it's going to be available for. So is it a day, 3 days, 5 days, a week, and so on. So I'll just say a week. I can also add the password if I need an extra layer of security. So I have 4 free live sessions left, and then it's going to be paid after that. However, I still think it's pretty affordable and definitely worth the money, because it saves you a lot of hassle of having to export, import to an external website, and all these kind of things. So what it does is, as you see here, I have copy link, and I'm going to go and open my website. And as you see here, this is the live session, and it allows your client here to give star ratings, rate comments. You can send it and it shows up here. So I find it's a very good way to collaborate with people online, especially if you are dealing with a lot of weddings or clients that need things changed and fixed. It's just a very efficient way to communicate with people and adjust and change things as you go as well. You can change things in this folder. It's going to show up real time on the website as well. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely check it out as well. I think it's such a good feature to have, and I think it's definitely worth looking into. Okay guys, that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining. I hope this video showed you how easy it is to actually use Capture One and how simple it is to switch. It is nothing to be scared of. There are so many resources online that can help you with the switch as well. You can also ask me a question if you want to, and I will try my best to help you. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I am offering a discount code for my followers. You get 20% off any new subscriptions, and it only applies to the first 100 people, so make sure to get it while it's there, because it's not gonna last very long. And yeah, make sure to check out Capture One. I think it's an awesome program, and I am so excited for you guys to use it. I am so excited to release my own styles soon, maybe. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.